Have you ever found yourself in that familiar, unsettling space where the contours of a new relationship, or even an existing one, begin to echo the painful patterns of the past? It's a subtle, almost imperceptible shift at first, a familiar ache in the chest, a quiet anxiety that steals your sleep, a sense of your worth hanging precariously in the balance of another's actions or inactions. You diligently apply all the modern advice. You cultivate independence, embrace your hobbies, become the high-value woman who doesn't chase, who manifests love. Yet despite your conscious efforts, that sinking feeling returns, the feeling of being an option, not a choice, the frustration of trying to be enough for someone who consistently feels out of reach, emotionally or physically, the profound disappointment of falling for a potential, a projection, rather than the true essence of a human being. This silent anguish, this repeating cycle of hope and disillusionment, is not a sign that you are broken, nor is it a curse that follows you from relationship to relationship. It is instead a profound invitation, an invitation to look beyond the surface of what you perceive as relationship problems, and to delve into the very architecture of your own inner world. For too long, modern narratives have pointed fingers outward or offered superficial fixes for deeply rooted spiritual patterns. He's not worth it. You deserve more. Just love yourself more. These phrases, though well-intentioned, often fall flat, leaving you feeling seen, perhaps, but not truly understood, and certainly not empowered to break free from the invisible chains that bind you. They fail to address the fundamental question: why do I keep attracting and engaging in these very dynamics, even when my conscious mind screams for something different? The answer, as we shall explore today, lies not in external strategies, but in recognizing and correcting three fatal errors in our internal operating system, errors that the ancient wisdom of Raja Yoga and the timeless truths of the Bhagavad Gita illuminated millennia ago. These are errors of perception, errors of identification, and errors of misplaced will. This journey is not about manipulating another's heart, nor is it about performing a spiritual bypass of your very real emotional pain. Instead, it is about reclaiming your inherent sovereignty, about understanding that the true power to attract, to connect, and to thrive in relationships resides not in changing another, but in mastering the self. It's a path less traveled, one that challenges the prevailing notions of romantic love and invites you to embrace a profound, unshakable self-esteem that springs from the deepest knowledge of your true self, your soul. The Bhagavad Gita, in its sublime dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna, teaches us the art of acting without attachment to outcomes, of fulfilling our dharma with clarity and purpose, regardless of the turbulent currents around us. Raja Yoga, as elucidated by yogis like Ramacharaka, provides the precise methodology for calming the fluctuations of the mind, the vrittis, for distinguishing between the true self and the fleeting not-self of emotions, thoughts, and external identifications. Perhaps you have felt the sting of a man's silence, interpreting it as rejection, when in truth, it could be the universe's most profound teaching, a mirror reflecting your own internal disquiet. Perhaps you have confused intense initial chemistry with a soul connection, only to find yourself entangled in a karmic pattern that drains your energy rather than uplifts your spirit. Or perhaps you've fallen into the trap of trying to control his attention, his affection, his commitment, when the only true domain over which you have legitimate sovereignty is your own mind, your own will, your own inner peace. This video is for the woman who is tired of the superficial, who senses a deeper truth, and who is ready to transform her relationship pain into a catalyst for profound spiritual growth. It is for the woman who desires to love with the conscious devotion of Radha, without losing the unshakable identity of Kunti, who understands that true power comes not from being chosen, but from choosing herself, first and always. We will delve into these 3 fatal errors, not to assign blame, but to illuminate a path to liberation, a path where your peace no longer depends on anyone else's presence or validation, but blossoms from the unshakable center of your own sovereign you. Are you ready to see your patterns, not as flaws, but as sacred invitations to awaken your true power? The first fatal error that relentlessly binds you to repeating patterns in relationships is the fundamental misidentification of your you, your true sovereign self, with the not self. Consider this deeply. How often do you unconsciously fuse your sense of worth, your emotional stability, your very identity, with the success or failure of a relationship, or with the approval and actions of another person? This isn't merely a psychological habit, it's a spiritual oversight, a profound forgetting of who you truly are. When his silence sends a ripple of panic through you, when his distance makes you question your own lovability, when the entire landscape of your inner world becomes dependent on his response, or lack thereof, you are making this fatal error. You are allowing the not self, the fleeting emotions of anxiety, the projections of insecurity, the external circumstances of the relationship, to usurp the throne of your you. The philosophy of Raja Yoga, particularly as taught by masters like Yogi Ramacharaka, makes a profound distinction between the you and the not self. The you is the unchangeable, ever-present, luminous core of your being, your soul, your consciousness, your true identity. It is the observer, the knower, the ultimate source of your will and power. The not self encompasses everything else: your body, your emotions, your thoughts, your experiences, and certainly the actions and perceptions of others. These are instruments, temporary garments, or external mirrors. When you identify your you with these external or ephemeral phenomena, you relinquish your sovereignty. You become a leaf tossed by the winds of another's mood, a ship without a rudder, lost in the turbulent sea of emotional dependence. This isn't love. It's a profound self-abandonment. The chemistry that often draws us into these repetitive patterns is a classic example of this misidentification. We mistake an intense emotional or physical pull for a soul connection. Yet often this chemistry is merely the potent force of a karmic pattern replaying itself, or the intoxicating allure of a projection onto another individual. You are not in love with him. You are more precisely addicted to the projection your mind has created of him, a projection that perfectly fits the karmic blueprint of lessons your you needs to learn about self-sovereignty. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of the nature of action and reaction, of karma. Every identification with the not self, every moment you allow your peace to be dictated by external validation, creates a karmic imprint that draws you back into relationships designed to show you precisely where you are giving your power away. This is not punishment. It is divine instruction. The pain of feeling unseen, of constantly trying to be enough, is the soul's plea for you to return to your center. Here's the counterintuitive revelation. Your true value is not something you earn, nor is it something that can be granted or withheld by another. It is inherent. It is the unshakable core of your you. The moment you externalize this value, seeking it in a compliment, a text message, a commitment, or a declaration of love, you are stepping out of your sovereignty and into the very pattern that creates suffering. The fear of abandonment, that visceral panic, is not the you fearing its own demise. It is the mind, the not self, fearing the loss of its external validation system, its accustomed source of perceived completeness. A practical application of Raja Yoga to begin addressing this fatal error is the practice of mindful observation without identification. When that wave of anxiety washes over you, perhaps waiting for a reply, or feeling the distance, instead of saying, I am anxious, ask yourself, who is observing this anxiety? Who is feeling this need for his response? Gently but firmly, remind yourself, this anxiety is a phenomenon of the mind. It is not my you. My you observes it. My you is untouched by it. Visualize your you as the sun, luminous, stable, self-radiant. Your emotions are like planets orbiting around it. They are part of your experience, but they are not the sun itself. Allow the emotion to exist, but do not fuse your identity with it. Do not let it define your worth. This simple, consistent practice of discerning between the observer and the observed is the first step towards reclaiming your sovereign power. It is how you begin to break the karmic chains of repetitive patterns, not by changing him, but by changing your relationship with yourself. The second fatal error that ensnares you in the same exhausting relationship patterns is the profound confusion between genuine, unconditional love, prema or bhakti, and the maumi, relentless, consuming force of attachment, trishna. This error manifests as the bottomless pit of need you sometimes feel, the exhaustion of constantly trying to be the perfect woman, independent, calm, alluring, only to feel like an option, never quite enough. You mistakenly believe that intense passion or a profound yearning for someone is the highest form of connection, when, more often than not, it is the mind's powerful craving for completion, an attempt to fill an internal void with an external presence. This is not love. It is a form of addiction, a dependence on another to regulate your internal state. In Raja Yoga, the mind's tendency to cling, to crave, and to create suffering from desire is known as trishna. It is one of the fluctuations of the mind, vriddhis, that obstructs true inner peace. While the initial chemistry can feel like an undeniable soul pull, it frequently hides a deeper, often unconscious need for external validation, or a subconscious attempt to heal old wounds through another. This is where the gunas, concepts from Vedic philosophy, become profoundly relevant. When a relationship is dominated by rajas, passion, activity, ambition, and tamas, inertia, darkness, delusion, the clarity and peace of sattva, purity, harmony, truth, are obscured. You might be experiencing a passionate, tumultuous connection that feels real because it's intense, but it lacks the sattvic qualities of peace, clarity, and genuine mutual respect. The Bhagavad Gita instructs us to perform our actions, karma, without attachment to their fruits, results. In the context of relationships, this means loving, giving, and connecting without the desperate craving for a specific outcome, a particular response, or a guarantee of forever. This detachment is not indifference. It is the highest form of inner freedom, allowing you to engage fully without losing your center. Consider the counterintuitive truth. Your intensity, that deep well of emotion you possess, is not too much for the right person, nor is it a flaw. It is a powerful force. But when this intensity is misdirected, when it flows outward in a desperate attempt to secure another's attention or affection, it becomes draining and creates energetic imbalance. When redirected inward, when used to cultivate your own self-sufficiency and deepen your connection to your you, that same intensity transforms into an unshakable inner power, a magnetic force that attracts alignment rather than need. The common frustration of, I'm always trying too hard, or I always care more, stems from this misdirection of your powerful inner energy. The profound silence from a man, or his emotional unavailability, is often interpreted by the mind, steeped in attachment, as rejection, as a judgment of your worth. Yet, what if this very silence is not a sign of his indifference, but a sacred invitation from the universe for you to finally turn inward, to listen to the whisperings of your own sovereign you? What if it's a direct spiritual lesson, a moment to practice the very art of self-containment that Raja Yoga champions? This painful silence becomes a forced retreat, an opportunity to find your own complete silence within, where true self-worth is discovered, unburdened by external echoes. A powerful practical application to address this error is to consciously transmute the energy of craving into the energy of attraction. When you feel that surge of anxiety, that burning desire for a text, a call, or a sign of his presence, instead of projecting it outward, consciously bring that energy back to your center. Sit in quiet meditation for a few moments, or simply close your eyes and observe the sensation of craving. Do not judge it. Acknowledge it as a manifestation of your mind, the not self. Then, with your will, consciously direct that energy to reinforce the inner light of your you. Visualize it as fuel that strengthens your core, illuminating your inner space. This is not a trick to make him pursue you. It is a fundamental shift in your energetic blueprint. When you become full within yourself, when your inner well is overflowing, you naturally radiate an attractive force that draws authentic connections, much like the conscious devotion of Radha, whose love for Krishna was an expression of her complete sovereign self, never born from a place of need, but from an abundance of spirit. This cultivation of inner fullness, rather than external seeking, is the path to liberation from the cycle of unfulfilled longing. The third fatal error, deeply intertwined with the first two, is the persistent and often unconscious attempt to control external circumstances, specifically the other person's mind, emotions, and actions, instead of dedicating your full will to mastering your own inner world. This is the root of endless frustration, the source of exhausting games, and the reason you often feel powerless despite your best intentions. You spend immense energy dissecting his words, analyzing his silence, strategizing your responses, trying to engineer a specific outcome. You want him to choose you, to prioritize you, to love you in the way you envision. This desire to control the uncontrollable is not a display of power. It is an act of profound self-sabotage, born from fear and a deep-seated belief that your happiness depends on bending external reality to your will. Raja Yoga teaches us that the you is the master of its own domain. Your true power, your sovereign will, extends precisely and exclusively over your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own reactions, and your own choices. Any attempt to exert control beyond this domain is futile and will only lead to suffering. The mind, when not under the conscious dominion of the you, is prone to delusion, to fabricating scenarios, and to engaging in the exhausting dance of manipulation. The Bhagavad Gita speaks to the concept of dharma, your unique intrinsic purpose and righteous action. When you attempt to force a relationship into a shape that is not aligned with its natural dharmic path, or when you resist the karmic lessons it is meant to teach, you create friction and suffering. True power lies in aligning with your own dharma, in acting with purity of intention, and in allowing life to unfold without clinging to specific outcomes or attempting to steer the free will of another. The fatal error is trying to control his mind before you have mastered your own. Here's the profound, counterintuitive truth. Your calmness, your non-reactivity, your inner stability is the most potent force in any relationship dynamic. When you cease to be swayed by his fluctuating moods, his intermittent presence, or his perplexing silences, you become an unshakable anchor. This inner steadiness disrupts the very patterns you are seeking to break. Why? Because the dynamics of codependency, of chasing and being chased, thrive on your reactivity. When you withdraw your energetic investment from trying to control him and redirect it to centering yourself, you fundamentally alter the energetic equation. The less you need to control, the more authentically you can attract what aligns with your true self. This is not a strategic game. It is a manifestation of your inherent sovereignty. His silence, previously a trigger for panic, becomes a sacred space for your introspection, a quiet retreat for your you to expand. Consider this three-step technique, rooted in Raja Yoga, to transmute the urge to control into a powerful act of self-mastery, especially when faced with his silence or distance. First, observe without judgment. When the urge to text him, to analyze, to question, arises, simply notice it. Don't fight it. Acknowledge the thought. Here is the mind wanting to control. Do not attach to it. See it as an external phenomenon. Separate from your you. Second, reclaim your energy. Feel where that urge to control resides in your body. Perhaps a tightness in your chest, a flutter in your stomach. Then, with a conscious act of will, visualize that energy pulling back into your center, into the luminous core of your you. Imagine it nourishing your own inner peace, strengthening your own inner fortress. This is a deliberate act of self-reclamation. Third, redirect your will to your dharma. Instead of focusing your powerful will on what he is doing or not doing, redirect it to what is within your sphere of influence. What is your dharma in this moment? Is it to focus on your work, to engage in a creative pursuit, to spend time with friends, to deepen your meditation practice, to simply rest? Choose an action that serves your highest self, an action that emanates from a place of fullness, not from a place of craving or control. This is the practice of aligning your will with your divine purpose, knowing that when you are centered in your dharma, you naturally attract experiences and relationships that reflect that alignment. This fatal error of external control dissolves when you realize that true power is internal mastery. We have journeyed together through the subtle yet devastating landscape of three fatal errors that frequently trap us in repeating patterns within relationships. First, the profound misidentification of your you with the not self, allowing your inherent worth and peace to become externally validated, dependent on another's actions or the fleeting outcomes of a connection. Second, the fundamental confusion of genuine love with the consuming force of attachment, mistaking intense craving or a desperate need for completion as the true essence of devotion, leading to an exhausting cycle of seeking external fulfillment. And finally, the persistent, often unconscious attempt to control external circumstances or the mind of another, rather than dedicating your sovereign will to the mastery of your own inner world. Each of these errors, while distinct, shares a common root. By a momentary forgetting of your true self, your powerful you. The path to liberation from these self-imposed patterns, as illuminated by the timeless wisdom of Raja Yoga and the profound insights of the Bhagavad Gita, is not found in superficial tips and tricks, nor in waiting for another person to change. It is found instead in an unwavering commitment to your own inner sovereignty. It is about understanding that your you, that luminous, unchangeable core of your being, is complete, whole, and self-sufficient. This you is the source of your will, and when that will is directed inward, when it is used to observe, to discern, and to gently but firmly reclaim power from the fluctuating mind and the deceptive emotions, true transformation begins. You are not broken. You are simply rediscovering the profound spiritual laws that govern your inner universe. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us the principle of performing our dharma, our righteous action, without attachment to the fruits of that action. In the context of relationships, this means loving, engaging, and connecting from a place of fullness, not from a place of need. It means releasing the desperate grip on specific outcomes and trusting that when you align with your highest truth, when you fulfill your own spiritual purpose, the universe naturally brings forth what is in harmony with your awakened you. This is the essence of true attraction, not chasing, not manipulating, but radiating a frequency of wholeness that draws forth authentic connection. Consider the metaphor of the you as the sun. The sun radiates its light, its warmth, its energy, unconditionally. It does not chase the planets. They orbit around it. It does not derive its light from the planets. It is inherently luminous. Your emotions, your desires, your fears, and even the people in your life are like planets. When you mistakenly allow these planets to dictate the luminosity of your sun, you lose your gravitational center. You become erratic, tossed by external forces. But when your you firmly reclaims its position as the sovereign sun, stable and self-radiant, then everything else in your inner and outer universe begins to align around its powerful, peaceful center. This is true self-love, not an affirmation, but a fundamental reorientation of your inner cosmos. The journey of detaching from the not-self, of discerning true love from attachment, and of mastering your own will is not always easy. Your mind, accustomed to its old habits, will protest. It will tempt you with old anxieties, with the lure of external control. But each time you consciously observe, each time you gently redirect your will, each time you choose your you over the cravings of the mind, you forge an unshakable inner resilience. You are not just building a better relationship, you are building an unassailable fortress of peace within yourself. You are not seeking to be chosen, you are choosing yourself with every conscious breath, every mindful observation, every act of sovereign will. And from that place of profound inner choice, the world around you and the relationships within it begin to reflect the truth of your awakened you. What if this very moment, this very pattern you've been grappling with, is the universe's most profound invitation for you to finally and completely remember who you truly are, a being of inherent sovereignty, peace, and boundless power? The journey we've embarked upon today is far more than a conceptual understanding of relationship dynamics. It is a call to a living practice, a daily commitment to internal alchemy. To truly liberate yourself from the repetitive patterns that have caused so much heartache, you must move beyond intellectual assent and integrate these principles into the very fabric of your being. This is where the profound discipline of Raja Yoga and the compassionate wisdom of Bhakti Yoga intersect with the messy, beautiful reality of modern relationships. The lessons offered by the Bhagavad Gita are not merely ancient texts. They are living guides, blueprints for navigating the inner battlefield of the mind and emotions. Remember, the you is always present, always whole, always sovereign. Your task is to consistently return your attention to this center, especially when the mind begins its familiar dance of craving, anxiety, or externalization. This is a process of unlearning, of dismantling years of conditioning that taught you to seek your completeness outside yourself. It will require patience, self-compassion, and an unwavering will. There will be days when the old patterns feel overwhelming, when the desire for external validation feels insatiable. In those moments, pause. Do not condemn yourself. Instead, practice the art of observation. Notice the emotion, acknowledge it, and then gently but firmly bring your awareness back to the you, the silent witness within. Consider the profound resilience and inner strength of figures like Kunti or Draupadi from the Vedic narratives. Their journeys were fraught with immense external challenges and relationship complexities, yet their power stemmed not from their circumstances or their male counterparts, but from their unshakable alignment with their dharma and their unwavering devotion to the divine within. They embodied sovereignty not as a rejection of love, but as the very foundation of it. They loved deeply, they suffered profoundly, but they never lost their intrinsic identity or their spiritual center. Their strength was forged from within, a testament to the power of the you when it remains connected to its source. Your relationships, especially the challenging ones, are not accidental. They are potent spiritual classrooms, tailor-made to reveal where you are giving your power away, where your mind is clinging to illusion, and where your will needs to be redirected. Every moment of anxiety, every pang of jealousy, every feeling of being an option is a direct invitation from your soul to look inward, to claim your mastery, to embody your truth. This is a path of courageous introspection, one that promises not just better relationships, but a life lived from a place of profound inner peace and an unshakable sense of self-worth. It is the journey from unconscious reaction to conscious creation. Your inner world is your true reality. Make it a reflection of the sovereign, complete you that you are. This journey of self-sovereignty is a profound undertaking, and it is rarely walked alone. If this message resonated deeply with you, if you recognize these patterns within yourself and are ready to embark on this path of liberation, then I invite you to take a conscious step forward. First, reflect. Take a moment to genuinely consider which of these 3 fatal errors speaks most powerfully to your current experience. Is it the misidentification of your you with the not self? Is it the confusion of love with attachment? Or is it the relentless attempt to control external circumstances? Understanding your starting point is the first act of sovereignty. Second, engage. Share your insights in the comments below. Your reflections not only deepen your own understanding, but also create a space of shared wisdom, building a community of women who are truly committed to deeper transformation. What specific pattern are you ready to break? And what aspect of your you are you ready to reclaim? Finally, to continue this profound exploration of relationships and emotional sovereignty through the lens of Raja Yoga and Vedic wisdom, ensure you subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell. By doing so, you will receive ongoing guidance, insights, and practices to empower your journey from emotional dependency to the unshakable power of your true self. Let us continue to walk this path together, forging a future where your peace is truly your own.